Hello, everyone, and welcome into the SunDevilSource Postgame Show. I'm Blake Neiman here with Chris Cartman, following Arizona State's steamrolling of arch rival Arizona, 49-7, the final score here today. But before we get into the game, let's focus on the magical season that this has been for Arizona State, the largest year-over-year turnaround in program history, from 3-9 in 2023 to now 10-2 in 2024. This team picked last in the Big 12, now with a share of the regular season title. Chris, it's hard to put into words.
Sports are special sometimes, and this team is unlike anything that I've seen covering ASU football. We've talked a number of times about this having a 2007 vibe, and it just eclipsed that. Never seen a turnaround like this, never would have thought it possible. I asked Kenny Dillingham in the press conference after somebody told you several months ago that you would win 10 games. He said, I wouldn't even thought that was a real thing.
He didn't think anyone would ask him.
Nobody would have thought this, except they believed that they could win 10 games. That's what Xavier Alford said. Somebody said to you, yeah, of course we can win 10 games. The belief that they have in themselves and the work that they've put in to accomplish this is quite remarkable. I've never seen a team improve more from the beginning of spring ball until the end of a regular season. It's a staggering development. Normally what you would think, Blake, is 3 wins last year, team that needs to learn how to win. They got a redshirt freshman quarterback. That's going to take a while to figure out how to win the close games. And the culture is still kind of evolving. They said, nah, screw all that. Just throw all that away. And we'll just win. Just win all these 10 games. The tough one on the road at Texas Tech, and then when Sam Leavitt couldn't play at Cincinnati. I think it's, in my opinion, ASU is the best big team in the Big 12. I think that's been relatively clear and trending in recent weeks. And not just in the Big 12, but you look around the country and you see what's happening in the SEC, or Michigan beating Ohio State today. And why can't ASU, the way that it's currently playing and with its ability to take care of the football, and then its defense having the types of performances that it has, especially against the run in a lot of these first halves, why can't ASU compete with anybody? And it may just get its chance.
And look, I think the big thing about this team that makes it so special is the love, the connectivity of this group. Saw Kenny Dillingham and Cameron Scadaboo linked arm over arm at center field as Dillingham was getting drenched in Gatorade after turning this program around from last year to this year, 3-9 to now 10-2. Then Scadaboo running with the Territorial Cup over to a bunch of ASU fans over here, being surrounded by his teammates, and said, let's go, let's go. Goes to the locker room. Then they come back out and engage with the fans. It truly is special. This ASU team is so embedded. Activate the Valley has been the message, and it's officially activated.
The tears that came from Kenny Dillingham at his introductory press conference 2 years ago showed how authentic that he is, how much that this means to him. And I think that, coupled with the personal accountability that he has and his willingness to admit his mistakes when within games, or things he said in the aftermath of some of these games, I think that gives a permission structure to young men on your team to also look in the mirror and figure out what they need to do in order to be better to help their teammates. And look at Cam Scadaboo as a prime example. He's a dramatically better player than he was a year ago. And there were heart-to-heart conversations between Dillingham and Scadaboo about if he wants to play in the NFL, what he was going to have to do in the offseason to improve his athleticism. And the guy accomplished that. Nick Saban called him his favorite player to watch in college
Unbelievable.
Football today.
The greatest coach in college football history.
Yes, this is somebody who is now unquestionably in the top 10 in the Heisman consideration. He may be pushing up towards top 5 status. He's got around 1,400 rushing yards. That's, I think, like 6th maybe all time. He missed a game. If he played in that game that he missed, he'd have over 1,500 possibly right now based on his average. So his improvement, Sam Leavitt, being able to improve within a season, his footwork, saying, I was missing throws, I needed to get my feet quieter. It's a special thing that can carry these guys forward for a lifetime, which Cam Scadaboo also talked about. He said, I'm going to know these guys, and we're going to have this relationship until we're dead.
Hence the Sun Devil for Life saying.
Sun Devil for Life. I mean, he said, like, you could have $500 million. It doesn't mean as much as this. Man, that is what makes this special.
It quite is special. So let's get into this steamrolling, though, of the Territorial Cup. ASU got out to a 35-0 lead. 5 touchdowns in the first half. Like you said, Scadaboo continuing to add to his Heisman Cates. Another first-half hat trick. 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 of them in the Wildcat against the Wildcats.
Yeah, they came in with their big body formations, 2 tight ends. Really from the outset of this game, they started in that, and they just said, stop us. We're going to roll downhill with the ball. We got Cam Scadaboo. We got the most improved offensive line in the country, led by Leaf Altanu, Ben Coleman. Those guys have been tremendous this season. Maxi Hanachor, really great run blocker. Kyle Scott, most improved player probably, along with Elijah O'Neal over the last year or so. Josh Atkins at left tackle, mixing with Emmett Boley. They destroyed Arizona. There were plays where Scadaboo wasn't touched, and we already know he has great contact balance. So when he is touched, he's probably going to just stay upright and get extra yards. Arizona had no chance from honestly, Blake, from after the first touchdown. Jake Seymour and I were in the press box, and we were just like, this is going to be a blowout. Like there's no way. And Dillingham had talked earlier in the week about ASU playing too many close games and letting opponents come back into the game after having early big leads in a couple of these recent games, and how they need to take the next step in their evolution and to not allow that to happen. And then I asked him, were you thinking about this game as a foreshadowing moment? And he basically said yes. He thought that they could destroy this team. And this is a bad Arizona team. Got a lot of serious questions about Brent Brennan and whether or not they should even continue or just pull the ripcord. But the ASU was embarrassed by this same program a year ago, and Tempe giving up 55 points or whatever it was. And it's unbelievable, but the game never felt even remotely close to in doubt. Like from you just saw there was a huge gap in the physicality, the ability to execute in the trenches, the Sam Levitt, the quarterback play. The guy's throwing dimes. Xavier Guillory, into the end zone, floater, Jordan Tyson. He's running around. He's had that step up that he threw to Mateer for the touchdown. I'm thinking this is an NFL guy. He's a redshirt freshman. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country as an underclassman. The future is so bright right now.
And the future is bright for not only him, but also his throwing mate in Jordan Tyson. That connection is really special. And if there is any question who is the best 1-2 wide receiver quarterback duo in the state of Arizona, arguably in the Big 12, Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson put away all discussion today.
Yeah, Fafita and T-Mac, they've done some great things together, but this Arizona team right now is not even remotely close, and that duo is not even remotely close. Like they got totally outclassed in this game. Jordan Tyson is special. That one toe tap on the sideline catch that he had, where it was like the reverse foot that he had to get down, so because his other foot he was in the air and going to be out of bounds. The control, the body control, and the ability in such a quick moment to be able to understand what you needed to do to stay in bounds. He's special. Now, obviously, got hurt.
Yes, he did.
And he's in a sling leaving this game on his left arm. He was pointing to the area around the AC joint. The AC joint, Blake, would be better than a collarbone or a clavicle injury. Clavicle, collarbone, the way he went down really hard, it could be either a shoulder, any type of a shoulder, or a collarbone. Collarbone, he's not going to be able to play. An AC joint injury is the same type of injury that Cam Scadaboo had, and there's different grades of that injury, from a grade 1 to a grade 3. Scadaboo's was pretty serious, but there were also evidence that it was a lingering from a prior injury that had happened a long time ago, which maybe enabled him to get on the field more quickly. Dillingham said that they're going to have to see the status. I don't know if it's an AC joint or a collarbone. I just know that he was pointing at the area that is around the AC joint, and that would be better than a collarbone. If it is an AC joint injury, there's potential that he could play next week. I've seen that happen, but again, we don't know the grading. And other receivers stepped up today.
Malquan Stovall.
Xavier Guillory, Shema Mateer, Derek Sabio.
First catch, first touchdown, Trenton Bourget, Tucson kid, full circle moment. Can't write it any better than that.
I was talking to a couple media people earlier in the week about ASU. If ASU won this game in a blowout fashion like it should, then you would probably have Trenton Bourguet throwing to Coben Bourguet at some point in the second half, fourth quarter, more than likely. A Bourguet to Bourguet completion, that is special. Dillingham said that you almost never get that brother to brother at this level of college football. And for Trenton Bourguet, all the sacrifices that he's made for this program, he was getting praised by Sam Levitt after in the post game for just how good of a person that he is and how good of a coach he's going to be. Perhaps at ASU next year, I can imagine him staying on as a graduate assistant. Coben Bourguet, his first catch in his hometown in the Territorial Cup in a blowout. That's amazing. And then Derek Eusebio, who we have said throughout this whole year, one of the best walk-ons. To me, he's like better than a walk-on. He's a guy that I was a little bit surprised didn't get more opportunities earlier in the season, because a lot of ASU's receivers haven't done as well as we expected, I would say, like beyond Jordan Tyson. And I just think that his habits and his football IQ are so great that it would have made sense maybe even to give him some more opportunities earlier. But you have Melquan Stovall in that same role. He's a good player. But to see him have that long touchdown, very impressive.
Very cool moment for him as well as Bourguet. ASU's defense, the assignment was to eliminate Territorial McMillan. They eliminated T-Mac, and then the rest was history.
Yeah, they had some. They mixed it up in their approach. So they rolled coverage with a safety bracketing in some cases, with press man, with Javen Robinson or Keith Abney trying to get bump to delay his entry into routes and somebody like over the top of it. Then a lot of other times they only rushed 3 and they played more zone coverage to try to make it harder for Noah Fafita to be able to throw the ball to McMillan. I felt like the strategy and the execution of that was fairly good. They gave up that one long drive and to start the second half, but other than that, there was really nothing doing. Like Arizona had 50-something yards in the first half.
First half was dominant.
Which, by the way, that was like not even half of what Cam Scadaboo and Jordan Tyson individually had in the first half. They both went well over 100 yards from scrimmage. I mean, this wasn't even a game. Total blowout. Again, I don't know how Arizona is going to really recover from this moving forward, because if you're a star quarterback or a star wide receiver or a star anything, why would you be transferring to Arizona or picking Arizona right now, given what you saw from their inability to be successful with 2 guys who had been star players and All-American candidates the year prior? So they are in a world of hurt right now. The gap has never, or rarely at least, felt so significant in direction of programs and what's happening on the field. And for that to turn around entirely from last year, when last year felt like the gap was unbelievable, is also quite amazing. But what Dillingham and this team is building, I really believe it's sustainable. With the Marcus Arroyo and Brian Ward retentions, with their contract extensions, how highly paid that they're going to be in the years moving forward, their ability to have most of their starters come back, Sam Levitt, Jordan Tyson, I really believe that they're likely to return to ASU next year, along with a bunch of other players. There's no reason why ASU won't be a favorite, if not the favorite, in the Big 12 next season. But listen, there's a good chance that we might be covering a Big 12 championship game in the week ahead with a CFP berth on the line. Yes, I just said that. ASU could play in the first ever 12-team CFP playoff. Wow.
Wow, indeed. And at the time that we are recording this, we do not know the outcomes of some of these other games that are happening right now while we are recording this. TCU is currently in action. They're up on Cincinnati. If they win, ASU is in to the Big 12 championship. Now, if TCU loses, ASU would also need BYU to win to get into the Big 12 championship. Several other situations that we don't know at this time, but if those happen, well, you'll be the first to know as our post-game coverage continues.
Yeah, ASU has a share of the Big 12 regular season championship. And then depending upon what happens tonight, the odds are very good that ASU will play in the Big 12 championship game. The most likely scenario is I would say ASU plays either BYU or Iowa State, depending upon what happens in those games. But BYU just has to beat Houston for ASU to go, and BYU is a 2-touchdown favorite, I believe, against Houston. So that's the most likely path. But also TCU is up by maybe 10 or 17 points when we started recording this. So we'll see what happens. But we'll know pretty soon, folks. You guys will probably know by the time you're watching this.
And we appreciate you all tuning in to this coverage here on the postgame show. Plenty more to come. You don't want to miss out. We got highlights. We got postgame columns. We've got plenty of other stuff coming for you. Just had our recent sale on SunDevilSource.com. There's a lot of great things happening here at 24/7.
If you watch this on YouTube or whatever, we have a Black Friday weekend special sale right now. 75% off a year membership. And going into this, we were 5th on the entire 24/7 Sports Network, all college team sites, first in the Big 12. A lot of fans are so excited. Many of them who used to be members and are jumping back in. I posted some news about Ben Coleman and his future, what that might look like next season for ASU, and some recruiting and transfer portal type news.
Just around the corner.
And there's going to be more stuff on Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson popping up, I think, in there. So you want to get yourself over to SunDevilSource.com, the Devil Sanctuary. We have the largest community of ASU fans anywhere. People were shouting at us after the game, talking about the coverage, which we really appreciate. And thanks to all of you guys for listening.
Thank you, as always, for all your guys' support to make it all possible. We will see you all potentially in Arlington as ASU's path to a Big 12 championship. They controlled their own destiny. Now it's on the other teams to control their part. For Chris Cartman, I'm Blake Neiman, signing off from Tucson as ASU takes the Territorial Cup and ends the regular season 10-2. Remarkable.